I just bought this domain name a few days ago for $22.18 on GoDaddy Auctions. Today, what I'm going to be doing is answering the question, can we take a domain that I buy at auction or expired and turn it into a full-on business, making as much as $2,500 a month or more? That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to go through the nitty-gritty. Why did I buy the domain? Where do I see the profit? How do we put it all together and actually make money? In fact, in this training, I'm going to show you two domains that I bought, one in a specific wedding type niche and another one that is in the outsourcing niche. We're going to show you the difference between the two. One is super complicated. It's going to take a lot to build up, and the other is actually fairly simple and easy. Couple of pages, set it up, and we're ready to go. This is going to be a straightforward process so that you understand how to set up blogs for profit. And when I talk about blogging, I'm not talking about writing every day, getting all social and having some gigantic thing. No, we're talking about blogging as a platform, not as a lifestyle. Right? We're going through and using this to make content so that we can make money. And we're actually going to use AI in many of the steps, so it takes all the research and writing and all that crazy stuff out of the equation so that we can focus on what makes profit. This is where most people fail. They set up blogs just to blog rather than looking for the profit. We're going to flip it around and start with the profit first. So if you're excited to see how we take domain names and turn them into businesses, smash the like button and let's go to work. All right, so let's dive right in and talk about how this whole thing works. Last week, I talked about my 7-day blog AI business strategy, which a lot of people had questions about. How do we take a site and turn it into profit? Whether it's something big, something small, something that takes a lot of work or a little work, we're going to show you where all those pieces fit in. This is super important. Now, I want you to remember that as this domain is very profitable once we build it out, I want you to remember that the results are not typical, implied, or guaranteed. Well, I think we can turn this into $2,500 a month or more. We have to look at this objectively and realistically. In fact, the vast majority of people trying to make money online make nothing. So we want to take this with a grain of salt. Now, I want to show you why I chose the two domains that I chose. First of all, the domain that we're really looking at here, the big, complicated one that I think we can turn into a big business, is in the wedding invitation niche. Now, I found this domain and it actually ranks currently for a lot of different keywords related to wedding invitations. Wedding invitation kits, mint green, different colors, DIY, all kinds of stuff. Now, I know from being in this industry for a long time that wedding invitations is actually super profitable. I had a friend years ago who had wedding invitations and wedding trinkets and things like that, wedding favors, and all different kinds of things like that that worked really well, and he built a huge business out of it. So that was one of my deciding factors in getting this domain. The other one was, of course, hey, it actually had rankings. This thing had a lot of pages in Google, had a lot of rankings, backlinks, and everything like that. Now, in addition to that, the domain also has value. If you were to look over here at Dynadot, we can see that the domain that I got has an estimated value of $26.61. That's almost $3,000, which is pretty cool considering I paid $22 for this. Now, again, take this with a grain of salt, even though this says $2,600 and this one says $500. We want to remember that it's really only worth $20 because that's what I paid for it. Now, can I sell it later? Probably. I have sold a lot of these for a lot of money throughout the years. More about that in just a little bit. But understanding this and saying, okay, well, first of all, it's got rankings, it's got value, that's looking good. This is a good starting point. Now, with that in mind, what I did is I went over to ChatGPT, opened up ChatGPT, and I said, how big is the wedding invitation niche? I wanted to get an idea of what does this market look like? What are we getting into? Is it actually viable? Am I going to have to print something? Can I do drop shipping? What are we looking at here? First of all, we could see that the global wedding invitation printing service market, that's an earful, is like $4 billion or something like that. A lot of money there. Now, we could also see the stationery market, luxury invitations as part of the market, and on we go. So we could see, yes, there's a lot of money here, which looks really, really good. So for me to make $2,500 a month in this market or more, I think it's doable. Again, it's not guaranteed. We don't know what we're going to get. Most people make nothing. Next, what I did is I asked ChatGPT a follow-up question. What are some good high-paying affiliate offers in this market? Now, this came back with some interesting things. I knew that we would have like Amazon and print-on-demand services and things like that, but what I didn't know was there was some different services that will pay for leads in this market. So we could see here different types of good affiliate offers and things like that. Now, as we go through, you're going to see the vast majority are like 30% commission, 15%, which means if I sell $1,000 worth of invitations, I get $150. Or at 30%, I would get $300. Pretty good, but at the end of the day, how many people are actually going to check out and buy? Yeah, I'll probably get some sales. However, what I did see was there was a couple of offers like this one here, that pays $19 per referred couple. And then there was a couple others over here as well in this other chat that I have. Let's pull this one open, where it paid a commission per couple referred. This I really like because it's digital stationery, wedding websites, RSVP tools, which ties into what they want. And they're paying on a referral a fixed fee rather than on them having to buy stuff. So I would have to get a very big sale to get this amount, whereas I just refer them, they sign up, it's a flat fee, boom. It's an easy conversion type thing. So that is what I call like the jugular offer, and that's kind of what I'm looking at in this niche of, okay, if I could build it and get, 100 people to that a month or whatever it is, now I can get $3,000 a month. Looking at that, understanding numbers here. Again, nothing is typical, implied, or guaranteed. We have to understand this as a business. We have to generate traffic. That's where the domain comes into play because that is our good starting point. And what we're doing is getting an overview of the domain. So I'm going to go to Ahrefs. I'm going to go to ChatGPT. I even pulled open a Manus and asked it to get all the different URLs that were on this site. And I was able to see, okay, yeah, this had a lot of pages, which is where we could build this up and grow. And I can have little posts about pink invitations and blue invitations and lacy invitations and all kinds of stuff like that that people actually do look up. And if you were to go through and open up an Ahrefs over here, let's just open the keyword tool, and I'll show you exactly what this looks like because we want to understand this as a business as to what we're going to build and grow. So if I was to go through and do wedding invitations, we're going to take a look at the higher up level of this market. We can see the value is more than the traffic potential, which means this is valued at over $1 a click. Again, doesn't mean you're going to get $1 a click. It just means that's what the advertisers are paying, which tells me there's a lot of money in this market. So now we can see all these different things related to wedding invitations and people looking to buy them. A lot of traffic. And of course, you're going to see like blue, green, different types, when to send, digital, right? Digital is actually less competition. And we get paid more on those anyway, which is great. So now we're looking at this and we're like, okay, this is looking great. We have those URLs we could set up. We could build it out. Now, the first thing we want to do in this is we want to build the site back up the way it was. So you're going to see, okay, in Manus, this one had, I think, 1,057 URLs, which means 1,057 actual blog posts. Now, it did have 28 URLs it listed, but some of them were images and stuff like that. We're going to ignore that, and we're going to focus on the URLs. Now, the other domain that I have in the outsourcing niche is a lot smaller of a domain. It's a smaller market per se, but I think looking at two of these together, you could see where we build and grow because both of these have kind of the same trajectory. So going through here, looking at the second one I had, which was for outsourcing. This one had a couple of rankings in Google. We can see here, outsourcing graphic design, outsourcing services, and things like that. Now, if we were to go to the top pages, you're going to see what was ranking, and you'll also see the different values of the keywords. Because when we look at the values of keywords, what you're doing is you're going to see, okay, this is what advertisers are paying, and this is why it's important. And you can see here, this one has a $13 cost per click, which means advertisers are paying a bunch of money, $7. $7, almost $8 on that one. And now you're saying, okay, it does actually have rankings for these, which is really good. So this one, again, looking at the amount of pages, it's a lot less, whereas the other one, this one's got a ton of pages, where if we go to the heyday, you could see 27 pages, but this even goes way back into like 2024 or 2014 rather. So that would be a bigger one to build out. Now we're going to use Manus to find the links. All I did in Manus is I went through and I said, here's the domain I bought. Please find the history of what rankings it had in Google and stuff like that. And it went and found them. Now you can do this in ChatGPT, but it's not as robust, where Manus found like 1,000 links, ChatGPT found like 50. Ahrefs can also do it. However, on some of these, like the wedding one, I would have missed like 1,000 of the rankings because they're not all listed in Ahrefs. Now, does that mean I need to build them all up? That's debatable. Like, I like to. I would want to build them up because that shows Google, hey, this is an actively managed site. It wasn't one that just went by the wayside. And it's very important that when we build these up, we look at building something good. I want to make sure my wedding invitation site is about wedding invitations. I'm not going to pivot and do something weird or different. I'm going to stick to what it's about. It's like buying an old business. If you bought a hamburger store that was, doing well, people like the hamburgers, you're not all of a sudden going to make, noodles. People don't go there for noodles. They go for their hamburgers, and we got to keep it on point. Same kind of thing with domains. Now, with the outsourced one, I can go through and look at different affiliate offers for outsourcing, like online jobs, Fiverr, AI programs, and different things like that. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the vision and the expectations. What is the vision for this business? The wedding invitations one, the idea would be eventually to build this up, and I'm talking like I would build this up in maybe a month or two. That would be the goal. When it will start to profit is, it has some rankings now, so it could get traffic fast. When it will profit, obviously we never know exactly when, but we can kind of look at it and say, okay, well, maybe I can monitor the traffic and see what I do. Traffic is not a guarantee of sales, but it does get the ball rolling so that we could see where the sales are. Super important. So going through here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first build up all the pages. Then what I would do is I'd make a lead magnet, okay? In the wedding invitation one, I would do a full guide, there we go, on wedding invitations, when to send them, how to get a discount. And in that guide, I would also put affiliate links, okay? That way I have the affiliate links, obviously disclose that you're an affiliate, but we could put those in there and have different information and things like that. That way that does some selling for us as well. In the outsourcing one, I would make a guide on here's how to outsource and save money. Super simple. You can talk about the different things they outsource, different jobs, tasks, the whole 9 yards. Also, I would want to put affiliate links in that one as well. Now, the idea here would be to use the lead magnet to build a mailing list. If I had a mailing list of people that were looking to get wedding invitations or whatever it is, I know they're getting married, so there's a lot of things I can offer them. If I had the outsourced one, again, that would be a list that would work. Now, the wedding one, the list is probably going to have like a year shelf life, because from the time they decide to get married to getting married, they really don't want wedding invitations after they're already married. So, obviously that would kind of fall off. However, the outsourcing one would last a lot longer because a lot of people are looking at outsourcing type stuff. So looking at those, we have to understand where we're going. Now, the wedding invitation traffic and the outsourced traffic, I think, are equally competitive, right? I think, you have a lot of stores in the wedding printing business, and in outsourcing, you have a lot of big sites. However, these domains are doing us the favor of building it up. So what would my vision be? Eventually, I would want a good wedding invitation website where maybe I could go to like Etsy, be an affiliate there, or even have my own Etsy shop and make my own invitations or something like that if I wanted to. Even get into drop shipping, or even sell ad space if you get enough traffic. And I would also go through, because of the nature of the wedding invitation market, I'd probably do Pinterest, some YouTube videos on how to do wedding invitations or how to select them, different things like that, and really build it up like I mean it. That's where you're going to get it from zero to like getting some traction and hopefully making some money. And then of course, building and growing, it's going to scale from there because, you know, Pinterest, if you do it right, can get you a lot of traffic. Some websites get tons. You can talk about it in wedding groups on Facebook. And again, we're not talking about going out there and being social. We're just posting helpful content. That's all we're doing. Here's 10 things you need to know about wedding invitations. Here's 5 things you need to know about outsourcing. Different stuff like that. What we need to know is what we're going to offer and how big we're going to go with this. Start small, get some results, get some rankings, get some traffic, build it and grow it. Now, when I do these, they work like crazy. There was a site I did in the video niche for people looking to build videos and make AI videos and whiteboard videos and sales videos and stuff like that. And this one actually did really well. We took over this domain. It was a little bit more expensive than the average domain I get. This one was $600, but you could see we got 981 keywords in Google, and it's not that old. It's mostly AI content. It was actually really easy to build, and we are getting traffic. This one gets traffic every day. Every time I look at the site, there's people on it, and we could see that that traffic has a good value, so it works, right? This is what you want to do. You want to build and grow it. Now, that one was a $580 domain, I think, or $560, something like that, and it's in a big market. It's something I'm going to build into a big business. My plans for that is to actually make an entire video company where we make videos for different clients and websites and things like that. That's the end game, which I plan on making that one a high 6-figure earner, hopefully, if I have time to build it out. Again, I don't know what it's going to make. I'm not monetizing it right now. I'm just getting traffic built up. We have had a lot of people on it though, so that is pretty good. And we are getting a lot of traffic from ChatGPT and Perplexity and other AIs. We're even showing up in a lot of the AI overviews, which is great. Again, I wouldn't be able to do that with a new domain. So being able to build something out is really, really what works. Now, it's super important that when you set these up, and again, I have a full tutorial at AIProfitScoop.com. I actually recorded it for this channel, but the amount of blurring and things that I had to cut out just got crazy. So I'm just gonna put the whole video at AIProfitScoop.com. You can check it out as part of this blog challenge. And we're actually showing you how we set up the shell. The shell of the site is using WordPress, the right domain URLs. So you're gonna use what's called a slug, where you'll go through and you'll see like, you know, my website / whatever, that would be the slug. You want to make sure that matches what you had. That's why we're going through and building these out. This is the one for the outsource. You could see the slug is content-writing, digital-marketing, IT-outsourcing. These are the slugs, and when I click those, if it doesn't work, I didn't do it right. So I need to make sure they match exactly. Now, in the wedding invitation one, it's ridiculous. There's a lot of different tools, a lot of different URLs, slugs. It's going to be a big one to build out, but that is the one that I started building at AIProfitScoop.com. I thought that if I build that difficult one out, I mean, you'll learn that way and you'll see all the mistakes and all the things that we do on that one so that you could do it on something like the outsource one or whatever domain you're getting. Again, you can learn about that at AIProfitScoop.com. Now, we're going to set up the shell, set up the homepage as the lead magnet, and then have all the slugs that match. Make sure everything is in tip-top shape. Then what we're going to do is we're going to test and see if it ranks. Then we're going to get the structure of the site. You could use Manus, ChatGPT, Ahrefs to get the structure and say, well, what were the links? I would say definitely use Manus for this and ask it to dive deep into the history. Now, when we look at the history of the domain for the wedding invitations, this one goes back to 2014, and it was an actual business, like it was a legit business that sold wedding favors and wedding invitations rather, and that's why it had 1,200 different URLs or 1,050 or whatever it is, right? There's other ones you got to look at. When we're looking at that, that is going to get us, I mean, even if I just put those back up with a simple explanation, little AI description of whatever, here's the purple wedding invitation, here's a picture of it, here's where to get it. That will start getting traction and rankings, which will get me traffic, okay? Then I could point them to whatever it is I have to offer. In my case, I'm gonna try to push them over to the digital invitations, or maybe even like services or something like that. For the outsource one, all I have to do is really create, I think it was less than 50 posts. So I'll create my blog, I'll put the 50 posts, and boom, there you go. Pretty simple. Now, I have a video coming out tomorrow where I actually did a test last night, and I used ChatGPT Agent to put blog posts on my behalf. It's a little weird, like giving the logins to a blog. Now, I made dummy logins just so it could use, and then I disabled them as soon as it was done. But it was actually pretty interesting. Check out that video tomorrow, because we went through and did that on a different one so you can see how we do this. Again, I've been doing this since 2002, maybe even 2001. I think domaining I got into in 2002. But this is something that works if you do it. And what we're doing is we're starting with that base. So when we ask our question, can we turn a $22 domain into a full business? The answer is emphatically yes, if we're willing to do the work. Again, it's not gonna happen overnight. It's not guaranteed. You could completely fail. You could lose money. This is a business. That's how the business world works. But what we're doing is we're focusing on data. Here's what I had. Here's what built. Here's the market we're going into and the offers we're going to do. Boom, info overload is gone the minute you choose that. That's why I like starting with the domain first. I think it's super, super important. So if you want to see how I build this whole thing up, it's an hour-long video. We got notes. We got the whole 9 yards. It's part of the 7-day blog setup challenge kind of thing that we're going through right now. You can go to AIProfitScoop.com and check that out. We also have some plugins, and we show you pretty much everything we do step by step. So if you like this video, smash that like button. Check out the videos in the description and hop over to AIProfitScoop.com to see how I set these up in great detail, step by step, with nothing left out. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next training.